Okay, hello. I'm just gonna wait a second. Just make sure everything's going properly. Make sure everything's going properly. People mute. And RLTN. Okay. We'll start right at 1. Maybe a minute after or something, just to... If you come in early, you get to watch me spill coffee all over my floor. Fuck yeah. Alright, so while we're waiting to start doing some real stuff, we got this thing that I designed and modeled at the very end of the last stream, which if you guys check out that video on my YouTube profile, it is basically just like a hair catch for my shower drain. Not the most exciting product, but I figured at the end of the stream I would do a silly little extra product or extra project that took just a few minutes just to show you guys how quickly something can be modeled when you have a couple measurements and like an idea. And then this morning I printed it. It took 4 hours to print. This is pretty much just straight out of the printer. I just took a lighter to it and just kind of, it helps get rid of any of the little stringy bits that may be present on the print. I do that with a lot of my prints, except for if I'm using white filament, because then the lighter kind of messes with it. But yeah, I just ran a lighter along there. So this is basically just straight from the printer, just directly from that file that I did the last like 10 minutes or so of stream yesterday. And it fits around the drain of my shower and should keep me from having to take it apart and pull my hair out of it twice a month or once every 2 months or so. So yeah, that's designed in 10 minutes, printed in 4 hours, and ready to go. I actually announced this stream on my Instagram this time. The first 2 ones I didn't really announce because I just wanted to like practice being in front of a camera. The first one I was very nervous, as you guys would see if you check that video out. This one should be a little bit better. One yesterday, I think the volume of the music was a little high. So I think I have this one turned down a bit. Hopefully the music volume is better. And then also, I made a face cam scene and figured out how to do that so the intros and outros and stuff can be done with the webcam. Eventually I'll get a better camera because I am running off of like a decade-old webcam right now. But eventually I'll get a better camera when I start doing some more like 3D printing, building, making stuff streams, so that I can like aim it at my workspace and you guys can actually like see what I'm doing instead of just looking at a blurry 1080p webcam from 2015 or something. Yeah. But I got the face cam, so that's pretty sweet. I don't know if anyone has noticed, but my overlays for my stream are based off of the old Winamp player. If anyone's was a part of like early 2000s internet PC culture, Winamp was like, that was the shit back then. That was how you listen to music, and there's all these crazy skins and stuff for it. Kind of similar vibe to this wheel that I'm going to be doing today. Let's switch to the main screen camera. Let's see, we'll just yap a little bit in the beginning, wait for maybe some people to come in if they want to. Yeah, so I based my overlay on Winamp. And Winamp is just so cool. It was this early 2000s audio player. And this website actually catalogs every single skin from Winamp in a functional, each is functional and everything, which is really awesome. But yeah, so I have my my overlays based off of this because it's just such a important part of early PC history, I feel like. Lots of almost like unusable skins for those where it's just aesthetic, lots of anime, Cowboy Bebop skins. So here's a Pizza Hut skin. That's pretty phenomenal, honestly. This skin is better than the pizza. Yeah, I got really psyched when I found this website. It's skins.winamp.org. And like you can see where the scroll bar is. There are a gajillion of these. But it just really shows that like early 2000s Y2K aesthetic really well. And I think these wheels that I'm going to be doing today are going to kind of have a little bit of that Y2K aesthetic baked into them. I feel like just them being a 3-spoke wheel in general is gonna mean that they are they're gonna be pretty retro, but I'm gonna try and make sure they're modern enough, because I know that the person I'm designing for, his cars are pretty sleek and modern, and I think the people that he would be hyping these wheels to would want a more modern wheel than like a classic retro wheel. I made a little mood board here on the right based off of my discussion with the client, and I'll show you his profile here in a minute. But he wanted the basis of the wheel to be kind of like this 3-spoke wheel at the bottom of the mood board. So like kind of simple, sharp edges, flat faces, kind of geometric. But then have a bit of this, shoot, I forgot what his term for, oh gosh, I forgot what his term for that is. Let me, one sec. Boop, boop, boop. How unprofessional. Oh, cyber sigilism, which I had never heard of that term, but looking up cyber sigilism, you get a lot of these kind of tribal tattoos, but like more complex, kind of like tribal tattoo combined with those like old metal band logos that like look like a bunch of sticks lying on the ground. So like just kind of tribal, but like more complex, I suppose. And it really reminds me of this kind of graphic design, this design style that I really like a lot, that's called meta modern grotesque. And this is just the hashtag meta modern grotesque on Instagram. I'll just zoom in a bit. And you can see very similar. This is definitely has that cyber sigilism kind of tribal and that like tattoo vibe. And it even says cyber sigilism icon pack. Look at that. But yeah, that's super awesome. And like these super complex forms are definitely not going to be achievable with the wheels, just because like they're made in a big CNC machine. They go on cars, drive, possibly could have some kind of like etching into the surface of stuff to get some of those more like fine details, but I'm not sure how that will turn out. But kind of just using this as inspiration. Let's see, the music might actually still be too loud. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, but then this meta modern grotesque is very, oh, and then boom. Damn, look at me just bringing everything back. Winamp. Back again in right at the top of this hashtag, and more Winamp skins or similar audio player skins. But yeah, just really, I'm psyched about this. It's gonna definitely be a challenge for me, because these are some pretty complex forms, and it's not like a natural, normal thing to have on a wheel. but it is a really cool style, and I think it is kind of coming back in style a bit, that Y2K aesthetic. So I think having these wheels have that vibe will be good and smart, and I think people will like them once they're done. And then maybe like we can come up with some cool kind of cyber sigillism, meta modern grotesque kind of typography and graphics to go along with the wheels. Who knows, maybe some sort of like apparel or like a accompanying shirt could be cool, because this stuff translates to like, I'll click on the same exact one again, but this stuff like translates to kind of streetwear apparel really well. So we could possibly put together a cool limited edition shirt that goes along with it. I'm just noticing that this is just looping. Okay. Yeah. So these wheels that we're gonna work on today, 3-spoke wheels for this guy right here. He's had 2 of my wheels on his car previously, so I've worked with him in the past. He's always got some interesting ideas, and like he's always challenging me creatively with his ideas. You could see the one I did last time with the stars, these wheels, they were based off of, so this is his old car. Well, same car, old wheels, but this was a set of wheels that I designed probably half a decade ago, with the heart spokes. They were pretty popular, kind of started a little bit of a trend with the heart wheels. The design was ripped off by a couple other companies, which is always flattering. But yeah, so this was his first set of wheels that I designed. Really awesome. And then his current wheels, let's see, Instagram's always bad about just giving me like a full picture would be nice. But yeah, you could see the spokes of these ones are daggers. And like as I was here we go, boom, there we go. So as I was designing them, I was like, oh, this is kind of silly in my head. And I struggled a bit designing them, but then like once I saw them on the car and like with all the matching pieces that went into the car, I decided that they were some of the coolest wheels I've designed. He's got even these little dagger shapes inside his taillights, which I'm not even sure how that works, but we'll wait for this to loop by. Wheels, yes. Wheels, yes. Yeah, see the little daggers in the taillights? That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, and you can see he's got a little bit of that cyber sigillism in his designs and stuff. Someone else, looks like this guy, Mad Skok, made this for him. So this dude Zerg is a big supporter of creatives and the things we do, and so I'm excited to do these new sets of wheels for him. We're doing 3 sets of wheels, and then he's gonna have those available to people to buy. The first set that we completed yesterday. Mostly done, probably some small adjustments, but these are the star wheels. We did this yesterday on yesterday's stream. If you want to watch this video, it's saved on the YouTube. But yeah, you could see kind of similar to those heart wheels, but with stars instead. Unique design. It's fun. It was fun to do stuff like this, just because if everyone's had the same 5 or 6 spoke wheel, if everyone ran TE37s on every car, like it'd be boring. So this stuff's cool as hell. Yeah, so let's work on these wheels for Zerg. Boom. Close that out. So we're gonna start from scratch. I guess let me switch back to the face cam, because like scratch will be on paper and pen. So again, I'm not like the most amazing artist, as you can see. You can see here is my measurements for the drain for my my drain cover thing I designed yesterday. Real amazing art right there. But I've got some kind of rough sketches for spoke ideas. God, I can't. The back and forth thing is rough. Everything's mirrored. Oh gosh. Okay, this direction. There we go. Well, I'll get it one day. Sweet. Yeah. So here is some other sketches, ideas. You could see kind of the geometric, like straight-edged kind of shapes intermixed with some kind of organic pieces that hold the spoke together. I really like where this is going here. And then this is pretty cool where like the spoke itself is not directional, but in terms of just like the silhouette, I guess. But it becomes directional because of this like kind of inset piece possibly. But yeah, so just some quick sketches. I always like to scribble around a little bit before going into 3D, sometimes more than less, but I don't know, I figured we just do a couple sketches and we jump right in, because I don't really have a way for you guys to watch me draw, and that wouldn't be very exciting anyways. So we're gonna reuse this barrel here, and honestly, we're just gonna reuse this file, because that makes things easy. You just gotta make sure to not save over the whole thing, because that would be a horrific event. So I'm just gonna delete pretty much everything, and Solidworks is gonna throw a giant fit, because that's what it does best. You can see I told it to delete everything, and instead it just deleted a few things and then turned everything red, because Solidworks is so great. So we're gonna tell it to do the same thing again, and then again. Continue. How many times? Oh, let's do it again. Wait. Select everything. Oh my lord. Select. There we go. Hell yeah. Alright, we'll save that, because that's something I use at the end for the back pocketing of the wheels. We'll keep that sketch. Okay. First things first, save as new. So I just use basic names for stuff in the beginning, and then I'll go back and actually sort things nicely. 3 spoke, 1. And then we're gonna go back to the assembly, and obviously it's looks like shit, but the nice thing about this is as we adjust the wheel, it's just gonna adjust inside the assembly, and then we can just look at this and see what it looks like with all the stuff. Okay, save as new. Bam, look at that. That's fantastic. Okay. All this talking all day is rough on the voice. I feel like, I don't know how people like Hassan Piker do it, where they're just talking 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. Dude must have vocal cords of steel. So I'm just still deleting all the remnants of that other wheel. Because we want to save some stuff just to save time, but we want to start with as much of a blank slate as we can, just to keep everything simple. So here is that sketch. These are two of the forging profiles available from the manufacturer that I'm working with. This is just a basic one, and then this is like a little bit more complex one. It looks like it's like a little bit more limiting, but it can leave room for a little bit more like height, for like a little bit more concavity in terms of like the design. So let's see. Let's start with just this basic one. And if we need to, then we'll move to a different forging. But by starting with these, we know we're like gonna be within the constraints of the manufacturing, because like the first wheel I did, the manufacturer never told me about these, and I had been working with Chinese manufacturers which have access to a lot more forging blank profiles, and I did the whole wheel design and they were like, oh no, you can't do that. Like, we don't have access to anything that can fit that. So then after I had done the whole thing and gotten like client approval, I had to like go back in and change it, which was annoying as shit. Sweet. So this outer 17.4 inches is the outer diameter that I need so that the face of the wheel will fit within the hoops. And then in here is just some leftover sketches that I keep in here, and this is how I'll need to cut the hole in the center of the wheel so that the center cap mounts, and this is the lug holes, which are a standard size. Boom, would you look at that? Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I just keep those in there. Later I can pull these and some of these references just to make it easier for me then. So Solidworks is gonna get mad as usual. Alright, so we're gonna start with that. Okay. So this is essentially the piece of forged 6061 aluminum that the factory has access to. And 6061 is like the specific alloy, because like it's not 100% aluminum. It has like some nickel and other metal in it to help with maybe strength or like ability to withstand moisture, easier to machine, whatever. I don't know too much about the different alloys, but I do know that 6061 is like the standard aerospace aircraft aluminum, and that's what a lot of automotive parts and aerospace parts and all that stuff. So 6061 equals good. And then forged means that they took the piece of metal and they superheated it, and then they put it inside a 10,000 ton press, which is kind of just like a school bus side, like picture like a school bus turned vertically on its nose, and then there's this little piece of metal in the middle, and then it presses it down with 10,000 tons while it superheats it, and it shrinks the molecular structure of the metal itself to make it stronger, which is great for wheels and structural things, because then they don't break when you get drunk and hit a curb. 1 sec, let me respond. Oh, I'm still on the face cam. Good lord. Thank you. I'm just yapping away here. Okay. Oh, it won't even let me respond in here. That's awesome. All right. Well, yes, I see your comment, and I will be switching away from the face cam. Awesome. Well, nobody saw any of that. Okay, so we're gonna rewind a little bit. Okay, so here's that forged blank. Here is the sketch for that. Here's one of the blanks that's available to me. Just the kind of, if you, I guess, cut it in half and then a half again. And then this is another blank that's available to me that I don't think we're going to use this time. And then these are the sketches I was talking about, which this is like profile for fitting the center cap, and I'll explain that later. And then this is the profile, or like the detail for the lug holes. Okay. First thing I like to do is cut the profile of the wheel, and this is actually how they're gonna be made in real life too, because the first step is they put them on a CNC lathe, which basically they clamp, they have a hole through the center of this, and they bolt it to a lathe, which is just a really high torque spinning motor. And then they cut this profile of the wheel on the lathe, and that makes it so that the wheel is like perfectly true and round. Because if you cut a wheel out in a CNC machine, I worked at a machine shop that did wheels for like hot rods and stuff, and none of the wheels were actually perfectly round because they didn't have a CNC lathe, and so they're actually cutting the circle inside like a regular CNC machine with like a fancy drill bit, basically. And like, if you're cutting something this big and you're like trying to cut it in a circle, there's gonna be like, you know, tiny, minute shifts and bend, and like things are gonna bend because like metal's not like impervious to any movement. And so like none of their wheels were 100% circular, which I always thought was hilarious. But if you run it on a lathe, they are much more circular. Yeah, so first thing we're gonna do is cut a side profile. So let's look at this. And this will probably change a lot while we're designing the wheel, but we'll look at my mood board over here and my sketches. Kind of think about how we want to do this. So I want to leave room for these like multiple layers of the wheel, because there's going to be that like kind of geometric layer, and then there's going to be that like organic underlayer. So I want to be able to have some depth to like do some of that. And I think, let's see. Oh, let's. And another thing is I have to be, I'm so bad with imperial numbers, but, and like anyone who's actually a machinist or an engineer is going to laugh at me, but 0.075 inches. I don't know if that's like, I don't know how to say that. We should be using millimeters. I don't think I should ever have to learn that shit. So this depth, this is where the wheels are going to mount to the actual barrel of the wheel. So I'm just going to kind of look at that barrel and see, just to see the size of that, because I'm blanking on some of these measurements, and instead of finding it somewhere, I'm just going to measure. Because measuring is always good. Okay. Something's fucked up with that. Let's see. Okay, so 0.85. 0.85. Okay. That seems like a nice round number. So we'll do 0.9 for that. Boom. God, imagine if I just did that entire stream with my face in front of what I was doing. Alright, let's see if I pour coffee on the ground. Ooh, not bad. I want my coffee to be hot, but I also want to drink it out of a mug. So I have a thermos of coffee next to a mug of coffee. Okay. Inch, that'll look nice. Just keep it square. And right now I'm trying to picture what that the outer mounting circle, like the ring with all the bolts that mounts the face of the wheel to the hoops. I'm trying to picture like how that's going to interact with the wheel, because that is way more important than it should be. Okay, and we're gonna add some dimensions here. Boop. 6 inches, sure. And at the end, I kind of go through all the notes from the engineer at the manufacturing place and just make sure and adjust all this stuff to their specifications. But right now we're just coming up with ideas, so we're gonna just eyeball some stuff. So I want the like edges of ooh, you know what? I want the edges of the spoke to come to as close to the outside as possible, because that seems to be a pretty consistent thing throughout all the wheels I've done for this client. Is he likes the points of the spokes to go all the way out and not kind of sit in here. So we're gonna do that. And I know we said that this was going to be a very like kind of geometric, like flat surfaced design, but I always think even just a little bit of a curve makes a big difference in like how the wheel looks in the end. Because it just creates a nice smooth surface for light to move across. But but we're just gonna keep this super simple for now, and then kind of adjust it as we go. What is this sketch? Oh, we're gonna get rid of that. That's left over from the other wheel. All right, so now we have the profile. Let's kind of start kind of blocking out the spokes. And I do want to leave room for the lugs. So we're gonna just kind of put a bolt pattern here. So this is like gonna be kind of where. So this is a pretty standard. This is 4 by 114.3 millimeters, which is for some reason a standard, which is 4.5 inches, but that's a standard bolt pattern for older Japanese cars. I don't know why they didn't use a metric bolt pattern, especially since like modern American cars use metric for their bolt patterns. But this is a pretty standard, and it's bigger than a lot of the modern bolt patterns, because like a lot of modern ones are going to be like 4 by 120, or I guess that's bigger, but I think that's BMW. But like 4 by 120 is one of them, 4 by 110, 4 by 112. So this is kind of just gonna work. It's just making sure that there's room for lugs, because the lugs hold the wheels on the car. Okay. So his example that he sent me is a symmetrical non-directional wheel. And when I say directional, I mean, you kind of see a snippet of this wheel up in the corner. That's like very directional. And that's just like when the spokes come out at an angle like that or something. That's directional. And that means that, you have to get 2 different pairs of wheels made, because otherwise then one side of the wheel, the sweep of the spoke is going to be aiming one direction, and then the other side, one side of the car, the sweep of the wheel is going to be aiming one direction, and one side of the car, the sweep is going to be aiming the other direction. Which isn't a bad thing, but it's a thing. And as always, we want to do as little work as possible. So we're going to mirror stuff whenever we can. Okay. Oops. All right, so there's a kind of a basic situation there. I'm just curious. Not that this angle has to be anything specific, but I am just curious what it is. Okay. So that looks pretty dang good. I'll take it. And again, like, you can see how easy this is to adjust. So that could be fucked with down the road. Let me see if I can get away with this. Okay, so all this still. Oh, yeah, no. trying to figure out how to lock this in. Oh, it's just not attached to the origin. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now it is locked in and we can make adjustments as we need to or want to. But boom. So already we got a 3-spoke wheel. Send it. We're done. Stream's over. Yeah, got basic shape here. I'm just looking at this mood board. It's hard to talk and make stuff and think at the same time. So I made this whole mood board, but then I didn't have a ton of time to like kind of reflect on it. Interesting, because I just noticed that this this typography thing up in the top right hand corner, it says play burial. I don't know how to pronounce that word. A bunch of times, and weirdly, after I made this mood board, I started playing the band Burial, and listened to it until the stream started. So that's really odd. Yeah, I do want to work some of this, like this like grill in the center at the top there. I want to figure out how to work in some of that kind of like, because it almost looks like those organic shapes are like growing on the teeth, instead of just like kind of slapped on there, which is I think really cool. Having some sort of like organicness. Seems like it could be really cool. So we're just gonna kind of fuck around a little bit now. Technical term. I want to see what happens if we add like a big chamfer to all of these. So there's a much more complex way of doing this, which I'll probably end up doing because it's gonna look better, but kind of just a lot of this in the very beginning is just kind of like looking at stuff and thinking about how it could work together. And I think what we're going to do now is actually do another time-saving thing and cut this wheel into just one of the spokes. And then we can just radial repeat it and then get the rest of the spokes. Okay. Oh, yeah, so now we have one spoke, and that's much easier to work with. And I want to nail down that kind of faceted thing first. Because I feel like that's a pretty big part of this wheel on the right. And I think that kind of that angle is going to define how a lot of stuff is done. So we're going to do that. And everything in Solidworks is like done on planes, which makes things like simple, but then also really annoying at times. So we're going to make another plane. Make sure it's fully off the wheel there. That's good. Okay. And then on this plane, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's like an easier way to do this. Nope. All right. Okay, so we're trying to create a cut that kind of creates an angled surface here, but it has to follow the shape of the spoke, and yeah. Let's do a test just with this, actually. So we have this line here already. So I need a line for this cut to follow is what I'm trying to figure out right now. All right, so we're gonna do what's called a swept cut. Okay, now I have to make a new sketch. Okay. And like a lot of Solidworks stuff is just like trial and error because it's such a finicky piece of software. And you want to have like the least amount of sketches as possible, but sometimes you just have to have a ton of messy sketches, and that's just the way it goes when you're making something like visually complex. Alright, what if we do this? Yeah, like this. Alright, here we are. Already we're getting irritated. Okay. Yeah, see, we want this rectangle to cut along this shape. And that seems like it should be self-explanatory, but Solidworks is Solidworks. How are we going to do this? All right. We're going to do something else. How about that? So this is why I made this other plane. Is my thought was that I was going to make a second sketch up here. this should be a little bit more simple for Solidworks' bird brain. So we're going to do a lofted cut. Really? Okay. Yeah. Yep. Let's see what that looks like. All right. So that looks like shit. And that's one because it's not following. I didn't have that curve. I don't have it following that curve. It's just cutting straight from this shape to this shape. So we're getting rid of that nice curve that we had, but the guide curve has to touch the sketch essentially. But let's see, that looks fine. Bear with me. There's got to be a more simple way to do this. I think I'd be better at this by now. Follow that curve. Okay. Alright, we need our shitty little line back. It's in Fusion 360, the guide curve for stuff doesn't need to like touch the object, the cutting object or the cutting shape. But in Solidworks, it does. Solidworks is a moody little bitch. You know, I should have started with something more simple. Okay, got that. That's touching. And then we need a little line so that Solidworks remembers what it's doing. Boom, look at that. Now the cut follows the curve. Oh, but see, loft operation failed to complete. Why does anyone use this software? Like, looks pretty good to me. You managed to render it just fine. That's wild. Okay. Alright, so it's mysteriously angry at me. It knows exactly what it's supposed to do, but it's not gonna do it. That's what I'm hearing. Sometimes you just make minor adjustments to stuff, it just decides to work. Guide curve was invalid. Does not intersection. It's a section. Y'all wild with this shit. Maybe it's because the guide curve sticks out past that plane. Okay. Nope. It looks so good though. Why must we do this to me? Like, I wish it would show, like, what? It just says loft operation failed to complete. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna do this in a different way, because... Yep. So what we're going to try now is to do a surface instead of just cutting it. We're going to make a surface and then cut with the surface. That's the plan. It's fucking wild. Okay, what if the surface just has... Oh, if this doesn't work, we're just gonna do this a different way, because people probably don't want to watch me just fighting with Solidworks, trying to do one thing over and over again. It's not really the most exciting thing here. Boom, surface. Wow. Just delete. It's that simple. Would you look at that? It can do it. Just didn't want to. So that's pretty cool. I'm worried about this kind of swoopty that's happening. Also, I want to make these two lines line up as much as possible right now. Just keep that clean looking, which there's probably a better way to do this, but the way I'm doing it, it's just kind of trial and error. But I haven't done any like weird complex stuff like this in a little while, so boom. See, that looks nice. That looks real nice. I don't think we can just mirror this, but I'm gonna try. But I have a feeling it's not gonna work. Oh, it did! Boom. Sweet. Alright, so now we have those shapes. Bing bong. It took me until I went to New York City to realize that the like side talk sound, like bing bong, is actually the New York subway sound. And then I couldn't unhear it the entire time I was like in a subway. I was just like brain rot in my mind, just hearing the like side talk, bang bong. Oh, you're good, man. Yeah. I always like a challenge. I'm just not used to like doing this stuff like on the stream with people watching. And so like when I when I start, the funny thing is Zerg is actually from New York, I'm pretty sure, but not New York City, I don't think. But yeah, I'm just not used to like doing this stuff like on a stream with like a recording. And so like when I start struggling with something, my brain's like, we have to do this quickly, we have to figure this out. Which is not like the greatest thing for productivity. Yeah, I definitely want to go back to New York City, because like we saw a lot of stuff, but I didn't even get to eat a chopped cheese. We had so many bagel sandwiches. We got like $1.50 slices of pizza. Didn't get a chopped cheese. What else was there? There was New York City stuff. Oh yeah, we got so many bacon, egg, and cheese. Like every morning it was like, where is a different bagel like or breakfast sandwich? One of them was like from a little cafe and it was like on a croissant, and that was probably my favorite actually. Because bagels are awesome, but like they're so hard to chew sometimes. Maybe I got like old lady jaws, but they're hard to chew. Anywho. Okay, so we got a basic shape. So now I want to like cut this out and get some of that kind of like organic stuff, maybe kind of looking like it's holding them together from the middle there, or like they're growing together kind of. But first we'll just do, probably gonna go back to that single spoke thing, but I just want to see what these are gonna look like with more of the details in there. And again, just always using a little bit of a curve on stuff when I can, because I just think that looks better. And I don't know honestly if this is going to be able to look like this in the end, but let's just send it and see what happens. Just to get an idea. Boom. All right. And I just want to see how stuff is gonna like interact with with this outer ring. And Solidworks has this thing where you can kind of, when you're doing fillets, it'll kind of suggest other ones. But it never suggests the right ones. Alright, go back to here. And let's save. And let's do like that cutout on those ones. And I definitely want to like differentiate my wheels from these, but at the moment I'm kind of just following this design a little bit just to provide some kind of like guideposts for me. And again, we're gonna just mirror stuff, not because I'm lazy, but because why not? Whatever. Okay, and that's pretty deep there, but well, you know what? Okay, let's just cut all the way through and see if we can add. Yeah, so here is where we got to do something interesting, I feel like. So we're gonna leave more space for some of those organic shapes behind there. And like, given that this is like a CAD software, like it just really dislikes doing like organic stuff. Because it wants everything to be like dimensioned and nice straight lines and stuff. So I think we're gonna start with some straight lines, and then if we like it, then we'll go to the trouble of making those kind of like organic parts. Also, it does look like some of this stuff is like utilizes some kind of straight lines instead of just like the really curved kind of alien looking lines. Yes, this will be very dramatic. It's funny because every time he posts his car with those like with the dagger wheels on them, people are always just like, where did you get those wheels? And they're one of one, because that company doesn't exist anymore, and so those are the only set of those, and unless the factory that made them decides to release that design into the world as they do. That was the funny thing about designing, is like working with the manufacturer in China was awesome because like they're really fucking good at what they do. Like the engineers over there are insanely talented. And like when I first started doing this, I was terrible. And like the files that I was submitting were not good at all. And they would just take my terrible files and turn them into beautiful wheels. And like obviously I got better and learned like how to do things without pissing off the engineers, but yeah, for a while there it was like, I was basically just being supported by the grace of the engineers I was working with. But yeah, they're incredibly talented, but like you just, if you're doing anything that's going to be manufactured in China, you just have to, like, the work's going to be great, the prices are going to be good, everything's going to be great, except for they will just immediately start selling your thing under a different name. Like they're going to be making it in the same factory, even in the same room. Yeah. But that's if you don't really care and you're just gonna make stuff, and then by the time you're done with one thing, you just make another thing, then like why worry about that? Because by the time they are selling your design, you're already coming up with something new. It is sad when like these like one-of-one things that were designed with a person for their specific thing get ripped off sometimes, because like that feels a bit shittier. And I don't know how I feel about this, but I'm just gonna keep going on it and see how it turns out. Because there's been a few times when I've like started on a design and then way too quickly decided that I didn't like it and missed an opportunity to create something like cool. So we're gonna see where this goes. And then again, we can skip back to the 3 spokes, the whole thing, and kind of get a preview of how it looks. And obviously, like a lot of stuff is gonna have to change in the center here so that this thing can actually be like mounted to a car. But at the moment, we're just gonna vibe with it and see what happens. Where's that lug nut sit? Oh, so this whole thing is gonna have to shift outwards because, like, you can see the lug nut is gonna be right there. So this whole kind of thing, I'm just gonna shift it up. there's no point in that being there because that center is not gonna get a cutout anyways. But this could be pretty cool like this. We're gonna chunkify these a bit. Technical term. Chunkification. Shoo! That's pretty sweet, actually. God, the amount of time I just spend like flipping this thing around in circles. And I might want to like kind of bring these corners of this out somehow to kind of get some of those like hooks. I feel like this design style has these kind of like almost fishhook kind of features, and like we could kind of get some of that pointiness into here possibly. So that's one thing I definitely want to add. Let's just start getting some of the rest of the features in, because I don't want to go too far forward before we figure out like what the center area is going to look like. We gotta fit lug nuts in there, and fortunately, I wish everything could just be like center lock. That would make designing wheels so much more fun, because like, I feel like so much of wheel design ends up just being 5 spokes because almost every car has 5 lugs. But if that wasn't a limiting factor, then like, we could do dumb shit. Shaboing. Alright. Yeah, see, why do we need to have 5 lugs? Just put one big one in the middle. Come on. One big triangular shaped lug. Chink. And like, you can cover that up with like a whole custom like center cap that covers the lugs. But that is really complex and really expensive. Because it's like a whole nother piece that they have to machine and finish and do all those things, and then you have to be able to like securely mount it to the wheel and it doesn't like fall off and turn into like a death throwing star in a traffic accident and just like fly across the world. Convert. Extrude. Up to surface. Bam. So look at that. We got kind of a basic wheel. Sorry for whipping this thing around like a crazy person. I don't know if that like is great on stream. Shoo! Alright, so I want to see what this is going to look like with 5 lugs in it. Let's refer back to that original sketch and see. Okay, 1.125, so 1/8 inch diameter, big hole, 0.6. Okay, cool. Oh, I kind of forgot some important parts of that, huh? Bam. Ooh, lots of stuff's gonna have to change. I might have to thicken these spokes up a bit so that this center area isn't so cramped. Because, like, I want space between the lug holes and like the spokes, because there's 3 spokes and 5 lugs. I feel like you have to kind of like let the center area breathe a little bit, because otherwise it kind of just looks like you arbitrarily drilled 5 holes in a thing that wasn't designed for 5 holes. Alright, and this is all kind of, this will be adjusted later, but I just want to get these in here to see, like, what the heck they're going to look like. You know, not horrible. Huh. I feel like it's gonna take some getting used to, like, thinking creatively while being on the stream thing and talking and stuff. 'Cause, like, right now it's almost like I feel like I have to like choose one. And like, it's like if I'm trying to think about some like really detailed things, then I like forget to do like interactions on stream, and then when I'm thinking about the stream, then I forget, or like I am not thinking like really goodly. Sweet. Okay, we're gonna go way back here and do some basic adjustments, because like I do wanna get to a point today where we have something nice to render and show off. And I do want to see what this starts looking like when we bring in some of the flavors. And again, this is just going to be like a very basic like starter idea, kind of to like open a dialogue. Start the two of us like thinking about this wheel. Like the final one, like who knows, probably won't look anything like this. But being able to sit here and like create this and have this available to us is good. Oh yeah, see, that's unmachinable, but that is a problem for future Juno. No, we're gonna deal with that right now. And we're gonna deal with that by just getting rid of this kind of bruh. Okay. Wait, no. I fucking hate this software sometimes. Just go away. How about that? Boom. Boom, boom, boom. And a bunch of those kind of the curved parts are looking a little funky, so I am gonna thicken this up a bit. Da, da, da. And I want to see what it looks like if this just goes up to a point. Just kidding. We're not going to see what that looks like. I lied. How do we do this? Go all the way to the edge? Nope, it don't. It don't. Yep. That's what I'm looking for. And yeah, we're doing stuff in silly ways, but we're just kind of trying to get... We're trying to visualize stuff so that we can come up with better ideas faster instead of worrying about like, oh, this is not modeled in the ideal way in the beginning. Like I can go back and redo this whole file or something. But right now, just kind of trying to see what we can come up with. That's pretty sweet. And I still don't know what I think about these shapes. I feel like, I don't know, it's a little weird. Back of the spoke. Are you talking about like the back here? Okay. Trying to picture what you're suggesting. Yeah, because I need to, I don't know, I need this stuff to flow a little bit better with the design. I guess like cutting this back would help make these look like less chunky. On the spokes. You're talking about like this kind of interaction here? So I feel like at some point I was okay, let's see. Add curves on the opposite side on the inside. Oh, yes. You mean curves on this bottom area. So that they're like look more rounded. No, you're fine. Like, I feel like this always happens when I've been like talking to people about like things on wheels, because like you just kind of have to like make up your own terminology for stuff, because it's like not like there's like a standard terminology for like describing features on wheels, and so it's like Yeah, it's hard to describe stuff, but I think you're talking about curving some of this bottom edges so that like this form like looks more organic. And unfortunately, so the factory won't add like the fillets, the like rounded corners. The factory won't add any of that on the back of a wheel. And I think that's basically like when they mount it in the CNC machine, like they do all the cuts from the front. And like the back, like all they'll do in the back is like some back pocketing, like this. Like you may see offset from service. Like these kind of cuts. I don't wait, it's being silly. Okay, one sec. Let me set this sketch up. Straight one. Okay. Okay. But yeah, they don't do much from the back side. Okay, if I'm looking at it from the back, sorry, now I'm trying to. Okay. Okay, the straight. So let's see, are you talking about like making cuts from the backside to like shape these features? Okay, yeah, that's the one. Okay, so basically, other than like simple back pocketing, like this, I want to just cut, just do the thing. Oh, this is stupid. I hate this software. Okay, yeah, so instead, like, other than, like, kind of simple, back pocketing, it's called, which are these cuts that kind of just make a wheel lighter, they won't really touch the back of the wheel. Like there could possibly be some simple cuts on the back, like possibly like this. Let's see if I can get this to work. Okay. So I could possibly get some like, wait, is this not? Here I am like trying to talk and think at the same time, and I suck at it. Bruh. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Oh, that went through everything, huh? I could maybe convince them to do like a cut like this, but it's not, I'm not even sure that they would do that, unfortunately, because like I think it's just the cuts on the back that they do are just super simple and rough cuts for stuff, but I'm not even sure I could get them to do that. They definitely wouldn't yeah. I can ask the manufacturer, but at this moment, I think doing any sort of like cuts other than just like the simple pocketing is off limits, unfortunately. Because like the way like they mount the wheel into the CNC machine like this, and then they have like this like the drill is essentially just like a fancy computer controlled drill, but like they have it coming down from the top, and so all the cuts are from the top, and by flipping the wheel upside down, that adds a whole nother operation, which they don't want to do. And like for some reason they will do these like little back pocketing things, but I think that's just like a super rudimentary simple thing that they can do in the very beginning when it's just like a chunk. But they're not going to do any cuts on the back of the wheel. Why won't that work? Bruh. What's up with that shape? Why does it not like it? Okay, so we'll do that, but let's do a fancy fillet. Okay. Value. 0.125. Value. 0.25. Bruh. Okay, I really do hate this software sometimes. Just want to round that too, but it will not let me. did a little one, but I want it to match the other side. It could be so simple. Alright, we'll just do that for now. Boom. Yeah, I think once I get more used to doing this, things will go quicker on the stream and stuff. Because, yeah, it's like shifting gears between things makes my brain hurt. Okay, so let's get the stuff in for the center cap. I do want to see what this will look like on a render, because sometimes it's hard to tell. Oop, we don't like that. And again, we do want to everything has to be slightly rounded, because if I'm not controlling these edges, then the machinist will make decisions, or if they're just sharp when they go into like the bath, the kind of the polishing bath at the end, those edges will just get kind of chipped down and sanded down arbitrarily by the polishing beads and stuff, and so we want to control all of the edges ourselves. So even though it's like not super noticeable, all those little things add up. I do kind of like this mix of organic and sharp. So I'm gonna keep going with that a little bit. Okay, what else? I feel like we need something fun around the center, actually. Let's cut out the center cap piece. So I am going to unhide that first sketch that has these things. Yep. And we don't want those, let's see, this, move. Okay, Okay, so that will move. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Bruh. I'm doing this in the worst way possible. But if it works, it works. Bam. Give me my fucking line. Jesus Christ, bro. Bam. Okay, so we got that. There's some deep ass slug holes. Let's see. Before the next stream, I'm going to try to have a better idea of where I'm going with this so that there's more just doing stuff instead of staring at the stream and screaming, mumbling. Maybe some sort of like star, kind of throwing star feature in the center. That kind of goes back to that organic, or that I already forgot the style again. Sigilism, sigil, yeah, sigil something. Some sort of maybe we can interact with that. What? No, don't do that. Okay. And this may be a cool idea, but the problem is it would have to be, each wheel would have to be adjusted if someone had a different lug pattern so that these symbols kind of flow with the thing still. Start with something simple and just see if it sucks. Ooh. can see I'm using circles to do this, because if I use circles, then I'll be able to control like the radii of what I'm making easier than, because if it's just like a random curve, it's going to be harder to like control. And I don't know, this might be goofy. This might be goofy. Let's see what it looks like. Fuck it. Kind of purposely just like getting a little funky with this wheel at the moment, and then I figure like the weirdness can be dialed back if necessary down the line. But if we start boring, then we won't be able to, we won't kind of get to entertain some of these silly ideas. Nope, 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 I don't like that. I think it's this like extra hook thing. It's hard to create these like cyber sigilism kind of shapes without them like looking funky. That's kind of fun. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. Showing. All right. And we're not gonna play nice. Weep womp. Alright, gotta bring this in. Bruh. Fuck that. All right. Still there a little bit. And we have this like little gap that I'm messing with because I added this nice slope onto the edges of this extrude, and it added it on all the sides, including this inside part. There we go. That's wild. And yeah, this might end up... It's probably going to end up not being the way we're going with this, but I'm kind of having fun with this, and we're going to see what this looks like. It's wild. And again, everything needs some amount of curve to it. You can't just have knife edges on stuff because it won't machine. It'll end up kind of like flaking off or doing something weird. And so we gotta have rounded edges on stuff. But all right, so let's see. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so that is what it looks like right now. And we're just gonna. It's like now in my head, I'm like, oh, I just want to start over. But I do want to see what this looks like, so. And even if we don't end up liking this one, it can at least serve as like a jumping off point to the final. Kind of reminds me of like the Skyrim logo. Put some of these basic materials in here. Okay. I've always wanted to use this like tumbled aluminum finish on a wheel, where you kind of like put it through the initial tumbling bath, like the initial, like there's, so like when you polish a wheel, they just basically get put in multiple stages of these vibrating baths of these little ceramic cone shaped beads, and the little cone shape just so it can get into little crevices. But basically you go through different stages, and one of the rougher stages leaves stuff in this kind of this tumbled look. And I always thought that that'd be a sweet like final finish for a wheel. And I have seen a couple companies do that. I'll just pull it up over here so I can show you guys. Boom. Okay, so these are some of my inspiration things. Yeah, you could see on here, like they kept that tumbled look. I don't know if any other wheels are like so intricate. They're definitely like fucking Lambo wheels. I mean, which are cool, but sometimes I'm like, go too hard. Yeah, you can kind of see... there's not a good close-up. I feel like this is the best example, but you could see the kind of subtle kind of texture on there. And I think that's just... the tumbled look. But... yeah, maybe this would look good on a reverse lip. So a reverse lip is almost like you're just mounting it back this way, but it gets rid of this step on the edge here. And I can make a reverse lip version to kind of check out. This texture is going way too hard. Needs to be much finer and more subtle. With these textures, it's like you could see, it's like in a video game where like you could see the edges of the texture as it like repeats on some of them, and I don't think that you'd be able to get rid of that. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's put this in a, oh yeah, you can see the kind of lumpiness that's happening here. Definitely gonna have to change that, but I feel like a lot of stuff is gonna have to change on these because they are a bit silly. But I want to see what they look like with some decent lighting. So I did this in the last stream, just make, oh, that's huge, that's way too big. Make my own little lighting environment just to illuminate the wheels in a cool way. Alright, adding a ground plane, so it looks kind of grounded even though it's floating. It's kind of important. Spotlight for the main reflection light. Where do we have it kind of coming forward? That's cool. Wow, that looks like shit. What if we just only use these 2 discs? That's pretty sweet. Must be having an off day today. I feel like even just setting this up, I'm doing a bad job at it. That's ridiculous. We're just gonna do it like this. Floating in space. Interesting. So now we gotta figure out like what works and what doesn't work. I think I need to rethink this like organic shape in the center, so that like I don't know, something needs to happen with those so they look better. I don't really like them. And then the throwing star in the center was a good idea, but I don't know. I almost want to make it more similar to how I did the center caps, with this kind of throwing star edge instead. I think this is way more effective than these rounded kind of curved ones. I do think that there's a way to do this like cyber sigillism thing, but with like a more geometric like shapes. And I think that might be the way to go to kind of get rid of some of these kind of blobbiness that's happening. It's 315. I'm gonna set this to render just so I have something to look at. And then I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then we're gonna start over and make a new one. Well, not start over, but we're gonna make a whole new design. but we're gonna let this thing render because we made it and it exists. Still was like a useful use of time, just because like it helped get some of these ideas and test some of these ideas, and I think there's still some like good things in there, but I think it does need some help. But I will be back in a couple minutes while this renders. And we're back. We're so back. This is almost done. Sometimes I like to look at some of the older wheels I've designed, and draw some inspiration. So I do remember that I did a 3-spoke a while ago that kind of had some of these same things, and I feel like it could help us. And by us, I mean me. So I go past it. I did too many. Yeah, look at all these fucking wheels I did. Holy shit. Each one of these is like a whole deal. I swear I was just looking at it. So there's one thing that popped in my head for just like how to do where it meets the outer edge. I like how this wheel has this rounded outer ring that kind of disappears almost, and then the spokes come up out of it. It kind of has this like turbine effect, and then that top surface would be like diamond cut polished. That's something I like, that could work, could help. I swear I was just looking at a 3-spoke wheel earlier. Not that 3-spoke wheel. There it is. This is one I did in the past. It kind of fits the theme almost. I don't know if you're still in the chat, Zerg. I don't know what your opinions are on this kind of like directional throwing star blade edge kind of thing. This is a direction you'd want to go. But I do like how it has this geometric, but then it still has that kind of second layer of structure underneath it. So that could work. Then there was another 3-spoke wheel that I did a little while ago that could kind of help us figure some stuff out. This one. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll keep these in the back of our head. I do really like this, like, curved, like the slope that the spokes have, like that top surface, and how they create these kind of like sharp edges in the center where that gap is. I do want to keep that in there. And this background is a car model, or a modified Alfa Romeo done by Kaiza, or the Kaiza on Instagram. He's like one of my design idols. He started off just doing Photoshop cars. Like, he would just take pictures of cars and bring them into Photoshop and modify them in that. And then he learned how to 3D model and started kind of like modifying cars in the digital realm in the 3D. And since then he's actually produced a couple body kits, and he's done some pretty amazing things, and he's like big hot shit in the design world, or the car design world. Let's see. Kaiza. We'll just pull this up. Take a little break in the middle here. Yeah, he's super cool. Like, literally started off just messing around in Photoshop, and then blew up in popularity. Oh yeah, and now he's like, they're making their own car. So this is like a real car. He designed the whole body, and it is a modified like 80s or 90s Jaguar, where they just redid all the panels, and it's just ridiculous that he went from Photoshop to like creating a functioning car. And he's like working alongside some like really big names and stuff. And that's just super cool. I feel like this is like the level that I want to get to eventually, is like, instead of just doing the wheels, like doing the whole car would just be awesome. But I need to learn Blender first and just learn a whole new style of 3D modeling, and I am working on that, but it is slow. But yeah, you can see he takes like a car, like a Porsche 911, and then he modifies it in, I don't know if he uses Cinema 4D or Blender or what software he's using, but yeah, there's his car like driving in the Festival of Speed. It's a 5.3 liter supercharged V12. That's probably really loud. I apologize. Yep. That's awesome. Yeah, so he's kind of like one of my design idols. Does really cool stuff. He also did the body kit for this McLaren 650. Which has this like cool kind of cyberpunk rear end on it. And this like center, kind of like the Le Mans cars that have that vertical centerpiece that goes up, which is actually to keep them from lifting off the ground and flipping. And it's like a regulation for Le Mans now, is to like for the really fast cars, like the certain this kind of like center wing piece. But yeah, super awesome. Hopefully one day I'll get to meet that guy. Oh. Oh yes, and then between, now I have to re-sign in, because why not? Solidworks never remembers me. And then it's going to make me sign in a second time. Or it's just going to freeze. That's fantastic. For a piece of software that like is the industry standard, you'd think that they'd have stuff figured out. Okay, so we'll save this thing and then let's make something else. Wow. The continuous battle of trying to get SolidWorks to just do the things that you tell it to do. Jesus Christ. Okay. Alright, so we're back at the start. Let's make something else. So I still like this basic form. I feel like this is still something we can work with, but I do want to add in that kind of like directional feature. Let's drink some water. That's probably good. Okay. And I do want to make these spokes a little bit chunkier, just so there's more room for that center area to breathe. Once we add in, just work. Jesus Christ. Bruh. Alright. Ay, Dios mío. Okay. Awesome. Alright. Cool. Real cool. It's gonna have to be enough for now. Okay. Yeah, I want to add in that kind of like directional feel. I think we can bring some of that in. So we're gonna have that similar cut on one side, but then on the other side, I want to kind of No. This needs more angle to it, so we're gonna just redo this. Because it's not wanting to play nice. Oh, I'm stupid. I figured out what needs to happen. Never mind. Hey. Ooh. Look at that. Oh. Chunky. There we go. Okay, so let's cut in some details into this. And we want to see where those lugs are at. Just have this sketch visible. Oh, we are getting silly, aren't we? I'm kind of having an off day, I think. Okay, so we're gonna have this kind of big kind of plate on the left side, we'll call it, and then on the right, it's going to be kind of like deconstructed. And I kind of want these to look like, if you ever watch like Gundam or some of those kind of like mecha anime, I like how they do the like armor. I always thought it'd be cool to replicate that with some part of a wheel design. So like if this part on the left was like kind of like one angled, let's call it like a armored plate, and then this piece on the right is like also that, but but kind of like opened up a bit so that maybe we can bring in some sort of understructure. But we don't want that to go all the way through. We want that to offset from that surface. Okay, and then we can kind of bring in some of that structure again. No. No. Let's keep it simple for now. Alright, that's kind of cool. And bring this farther up so we can have more of that kind of angle coming out. He always wants to put this vertically, and like, our screens are horizontal. Why the fuck do you want to work vertically? Oh, no, just kidding. Okay, we want that to be visible, but we're gonna make a new sketch on the right plane. So I'm making that outer bolt circle again. Bruh. What's going on? Okay. Oh. And this is definitely like a big departure from the mood board, but we're just kind of gonna go with it and see how it goes. Bruh. Go back to this. All right. Yeah, this might be one of those instances where I gotta like come back to it later, because I feel like my idea brain is failing me today. But I feel like if it's always something that happens sometimes as a creative. It's like, can't always be coming up with amazing ideas. If you could just come up with like the best idea every single day, like, you'd be a monster. Like, maybe there are people like that, but I don't think so. I think that every creative person has some days where they're just not on it. And especially like if you're gonna be like kind of filming your entire process the whole time, like I feel like that becomes pretty obvious sometimes, where it's just like, oh, creativity isn't just like a faucet you can just turn on that's always available. Huh. And I definitely just gonna need a adjustment period of coming up with stuff on stream and chatting and all that stuff. Ooh, see, now we're getting that kind of hook, like fish hook kind of vibe that some of these things can have. That's pretty sweet, actually. And then on this side, I want it to be like a lot smaller. And then we're kind of smooth, let that flow into that outer bolt circle. And I think this is gonna kind of need to go at some point, but right now I'm just kind of getting some ideas down. So I'm not gonna worry about that right now. I just want to see how this little plan here is gonna pan out. And then later I'll worry about this like weird little stranded shelf. That's pretty sweet, actually. And I want as much of this like kind of knife edge. What's happening here? I want as much of this like kind of like knife edge feature as I can get. So I kind of want this to be angled somehow. Yeah, at this point I'm kind of just like messing around. That's sometimes how like the best ideas are gotten, is just fuck around and find out, kind of. And then later when I come up with something that I like, then it can be fine-tuned. But at the moment we're in the fuck around and find out stage. Ooh, that's weird. Boom. It's kind of fun. And yeah, this is just a rough kind of... Basically, I'm just kind of trying to get my creative flow back and get back into something that is cool. It's kind of interesting. Oh, I forget to use my numpad sometimes. Again, I'm just gonna put the lugs in just to get an idea of what they're gonna look like. Offset from surface. And I like to use the offset from surface thing when I'm extruding stuff. Because then, like, as the design adjusts, these things will kind of adjust with it. Because like if I extrude this like offset from this one, then if I move this stuff around, this will adjust with it instead of just like popping an error. It's kind of interesting. It's very blocky still, but I do like this. There's something there. It is kind of goofy. Oh, goodness. I think maybe, when I come back on Monday's stream, I will kind of have a couple base ideas down now that you guys have seen the like how to start the file. Have a couple kind of ideas already figured out so that I don't end up in this kind of like floundering, screwing around state. So I'm not really liking where we're going with this still. Yeah, alright. Not so happy about this. Has possibilities. There's a lot of like stuff just getting interrupted around in here, and there's a lot of like weird surfaces. And like even after I go in and smooth everything out, I think that that's still just gonna be kind of weird. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Alright, well, nope. Go back to our Skyrim logo wheel. Alright, what can we do at the very end of the stream? Something silly and fun after I failed at making a thing I like. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so we got the wheel. I'm not really happy where it is, so instead what we're going to do is we're going to do like a fun little render at the end. Just putting some wheels on a car. We're gonna choose a really silly, fun car. Let's do feel like do something silly with this. Alright, oh wow, it's already got 3 spokes on it. So I was trying a silly vertical format when I was doing this, but we're gonna go back to a horizontal format. Alright, and we're gonna not have this thing at an angle. We're gonna have it, but I do kind of like it sitting on this floating block. Alright, so we got our F50 GTR, which is like one of the rarest cars on the planet. I think there was like possibly only 4 of them made, and there may only be like a couple in existence these days, but like most likely whoever has them is like never gonna give that up, because these things are worth an appalling amount of money, because there is just like 3 of them. And it was kind of like a racing homologation version of the Ferrari F50. But I wanted to see what it looked like without the wing, because they of course came with like a big GT wing. But I like the idea of like having this like ridiculous GT car, but wingless. And we're going to put the star wheels that we made on the previous stream on the F40 or F50. I want to say F40 because F40 is like more kind of flat-faced and stuff, and like this cartoon finish that I have on here kind of brings that back. Alright, so we have to figure out where I put the wheels in this file. Okay. Copy position, and hopefully this works. Let's see, paste position. I don't. Oh, hello. That thing's fucking huge. Scale 1. So this program, all right, so I think it's, boom, there we go. Yep. So the scaling was off, but this is in inches instead of millimeters, and so we have the scale at 2.54 because an inch is 2.54 centimeters. It's the wrong direction. Boom. But, so here's our star wheel. And we do want to continue with the kind of cartoon finish, because I think that's fun. But I feel like the wheels can be okay. Toon shaded white. Boom. Cool. Oh yes, and then the hardware. All right, so we have our wheel in there. Okay, is this... Okay, oh, this is what's happening. The barrel is still visible for some reason. I don't know why. Alright, we're just gonna get rid of all of that. Bam. Alright, so we gotta get the wheels to fit on the tires. A little bit smaller because right near the tires are clipping through the lips of the wheel. There. Oh, alright, oops. Alright, boom. There we go. So that's pretty ridiculous. Okay, now we gotta get the lugs set up. This is fun because, like, it's kind of just like modifying a car that I could never ever afford. And those are slightly too big. Kind of eyeballing things just to get it to look cool and nice for a render, because this will be a fun little final thing to do on the stream. Bang. So we got our racing lug nuts, we got our big ass brakes, we got our star wheels on the F40. Now we gotta get the brakes and stuff. Boom, perfect. All right. Duplicate. What the hell? Oh, that's so weird. What the fuck? We always gotta have the stancy stance, even if it is a Le Mans car, essentially. That's fucking awesome. And we will rotate the brakes around. The last thing, because that don't look right. Boom. That is fucking sweet. I feel like the chairs should be red. that is good. No, we want it darker. There we go. There we go. Where's that window I hid? There we go. Yes, this is definitely a car I will own in the future. You know what? Let's change the color too. Look it. I was like lilac. We're gonna make it lilac. That's phenomenal. Then the red, let's do that. Like, in the future it'd be fun to do some of these kind of render things, but let you guys kind of choose, make a bunch of the choices. Cause that would be sweet. That looks fucking hilarious. No, I think the red was good. Yeah, it'd be fun to do like a render stream where you guys kind of help me choose the car and make choices on like what color to paint it and wheels and stuff. And then at the end of the stream, we have like a real cool render that we all worked on. Horizon line, floating F40. I don't like that. Bam. Okay. That is cool. I feel like this this platform needs underglow. That'd be pretty sweet. So we're gonna add kind of like some purple underglow to it. I don't know how well these are gonna reflect off of the ground plane. Cause like the cartoon materials can kind of mess stuff up sometimes. Change that to display. There we go. All right. Oh, all right. It's probably a little bright. Oh, now we gotta select the other cube too. Hell yeah. Alright, bam. So there we have a cartoon purple Ferrari F50 GTR with the star wheels we designed yesterday, or finished designing yesterday, on a magic levitating cube. That's pretty sweet. I'm not sure what's going on over in this corner, to be honest, but that's pretty sweet. All right, so let's do a little render of this, and yes, I need to find a 3D model of a Nissan Murano Cross Cabriolet. That's honestly one of my dream cars. I think that with like some 40-inch wheels would just be phenomenal. All right. Not an animation. Oh, actually, just kidding. I think what we could do to fix this a little bit is to make it so the background is out of focus. There we go. Okay, so I think that'll be about all we'll do for today. A little bit less successful in terms of final product of the wheel design, but that's the way it goes. Hopefully next time we'll have a better idea to run with, and we can come up with something a little cooler. But I do like where this went. I think this was just hilarious. But we do have the camera thing coming up. I was looking over here to see if we find it. The instant camera version of this camera. We still have this coming up. I was sent a development unit of this Instax wide camera development thing, and we are going to design a back piece that fits onto this camera so that this old 60s Mamiya camera can be basically a Polaroid camera. And I think that's going to be a really cool project. Take some pictures with it, see how that works. I do want to get a little bit better of a camera before I do that, so we can have like a shot here on my desk so you guys can see better what I'm doing when I'm like putting it together and doing some of that part of it. But that project is coming up. That's going to be really awesome. I got permission to do that on stream from them, and we'll talk about their company and how all that stuff works when that comes around. But I am going snowboarding tomorrow, so I will not be streaming tomorrow, but I will be streaming on Monday again, and I hopefully will do some like gaming streaming here, maybe later this weekend or in some evenings, play some Arc Raiders or some Arena Breakout Infinite or something else. I'm not sure, but that is coming up as well soon. But thank you guys for tuning in. This is a bit of a longer stream, and hopefully do some longer, more productive ones in the future. Hope everyone has a great weekend.